Yo guys, it's slyroh. You already know that today I'm bringing you guys a special video, as today I'm going to be taking a look at what I thought my top 10 games of the year were going to be a year ago. Ideally, I actually wanted to finish doing my top 10 games for 2023 before doing this video, but I'm not quite done with that. And by not quite done with that, I mean I haven't started, but I'm going to try and get that up for next Saturday. We'll see how that goes. But for this Saturday upload, we're going to look back on what I thought my top 10 games were going to be. I made a video a year ago. It's only about 10 minutes long, and the first minute's like intro stuff, and then it probably has outro stuff. So it's not going to be that long. We're going to look back and see what my thoughts were on the games that were coming out. This was me predicting what would come out, which I think actually nailed every single game on this list. I think every single game on this list did come out. I don't remember what all of them are there or the order, but we are going to judge what I said about these games, and I will give you some thoughts about if I was accurate about anything that I thought about or not. And I'm not going to give away where they are on my real list. If you want to know what my real top 10 games of 2023 are, stay tuned for either next Saturday or the Saturday after. I promise I'm going to work really hard on getting that video out and not have it come out too far into 2024, but it is on the way and it is here. So yeah, enjoy the one of the few times of the year that you get to see my face, and let's just see what I thought a year ago. I'm just going to play the video, and I'm going to stop whenever I have anything to say. I'm going to try to not talk over myself, and we'll see how it goes. So, yeah, if you like this sort of thing, I don't know. I would say give suggestions of what else I can do this with, but I don't have a lot of my own videos I'd like to react to. I mean, unless you have suggestions for that either. But, yeah, let's go ahead and get into it, and if this is something that's interesting to you, let me know, because I don't plan on doing something like this for next year, but we'll get into that another time. Either way, I already skipped over the whatchamacallit things, so let's see what I had to say a year ago. Starting the list off at number 10, we're going to talk about Master Detective Archives Rain Code. Okay. This game is being brought to you by the same people that made the Danganronpa franchise, which clearly I'm a huge fan of, and it was introduced in a Nintendo Direct in September. There was also another trailer that was put up on Nintendo's official YouTube channel about a week ago, so it's definitely very actively still being advertised, and it has a spring 2023 release date, so that makes me very confident that it will come out, which checks off the first box. It seems like you are going to be taking the role of a detective, and you do need to be solving mysteries, and it seems like it's going to have a very interesting gameplay style. The main reason it isn't higher is because this absolutely has a chance to be a frustrating experience, depending on how hard everything is to figure out and solve. Puzzles in video games can be hit or miss for me, and also the story, I don't know if it's going to land or not. I have seen some other things that have been made by the creator of Danganronpa, and they are not always amazing, so it depends on if the story and characters really land. I'm thinking that it will, but there is a slight chance that it doesn't, so that's why I feel safe putting it at number 10. I don't think it's going to be one of my favorites, but I do think that I am going to really enjoy it, and I do plan on doing a playthrough of it, so I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully you all are as well. Yes, alright, so I did do a playthrough of it, so I kind of nailed just about everything. It didn't come out spring 2023, it came out in the summer, June I believe, and I specifically remember being very hesitant. I actually think the only reason this game made it onto the list at all was because I couldn't find a 10th game to talk about, because I was very, very sure that this was actually going to flop. But I was pleasantly surprised. Master Detective Archives Rain Code is a really fun game. I enjoyed it a lot. It did have some frustrating elements, not too much due to the puzzle elements. The story was hit or miss because it kind of missed for the first half, but then it started to get good in the second half. And yeah, so I think I kind of nailed a lot of my thoughts on it, but I do think that the game definitely exceeded expectations, and that's all I will say there. I forgot that was the first one. What is the next one? Number 9, I'm predicting that Starfield is going to take up this slot. Oh, is a game that is highly anticipated by many, and while I've never been the biggest fan of games like Skyrim and Fallout, which this game is being made by the same people as far as I understand, I do still think that this game looks like it could be an incredible experience. From everything I've seen, it looks like it's going to be really good. My only worry is this seems like it could be the next candidate to have a really terrible launch. I could see it launching with a whole bunch of issues, but I could also see it the opposite end of the spectrum where it launches and it's really clean. A lot of the stuff that showed off looks really clean. There was recently some more news about it about a week ago from the time that I'm recording this. So I am hopeful that this game will come out in 2023, and for me it just remains to be seen if they can really make sure that the fundamental gameplay is still fun while they balance that with the ambitious grand design that they have for the entire world and universe. So we'll see how it turns out. It could end up higher, it could end up lower, I have no idea. Okay,
At number
well,
8,
whoa. Oh, wow. Spoilers. Anyway, so Starfield is kind of funny. Um, after it being announced for however many years, it did actually come out in 2023, so we got that part. Um, the problem, and also it didn't even come out with a buggy launch either, so that didn't happen either, which was fun, I guess. The problem was I played Starfield on Game Pass, and by played, I mean I played it for like 30 minutes, and then I was like, oh, I'll come back and play it again. The problem was that every time I turned on my Xbox, I just played Sea of Stars instead. Um, so like I just never really saw myself coming back to Starfield, and then it kind of had like mixed reactions, and I just don't think that it's the type of game that I would get super into. So I barely even consider myself having played it. I know it was there, because I could see myself getting lost in the world and playing it, but it just came out when there was too many other games to play, and it's kind of unfortunate, but that's where that ended up. And I also have some stuff negative to say about this game, so I'll let past me talk about why I thought Atomic Heart was going to be fantastic.
Predicting that Atomic Heart is going to take up this spot. This game is currently set to be released on February 21st, and the game's Twitter has been very active. There's a lot of information and gameplay and visuals that are shown off, and essentially all I need to know to sell me on this game is that it looks very heavily inspired by BioShock, which is a game that I like a lot, but it also looks like it's going to be bringing forth its own unique ideas. I don't know how long the game is going to be or how interesting the story is going to be, but I'm very excited to check it out, and I would be very surprised if this is not a fun game. Definitely expect to hear me talking about it at some point.
Well, consider me very surprised, because it was not a fun game. The world definitely had the sort of BioShock factor to it. It was it looked beautiful. I love the way the game looked, the way it sort of eases you into the world and story. Fantastic. The problem was it just wasn't very fun to play. The combat, I felt dizzy with the way that the first person action was. I feel like it wasn't as clean as it could have been. And then as soon as the game introduced these stealth sections that didn't really give me good parameters as to where I could and couldn't go, I was kind of out from that point. So I didn't really like the gameplay, and that's a big part for games for me. So I like the idea of it, but I feel like this game kind of came out and then just was immediately forgotten about. So I don't... It doesn't sound like anybody else is like super singing its praises very highly. I don't think it's a bad game. It's definitely a not for me game. But the fact that I've heard literally nobody else bring it up towards like the end of the year makes me think that even people that are more into those types of games also didn't really see the value in Atomic Heart. So it is what it is. That one I also barely consider me having played, because I played it for maybe an hour, and I just knew I was out. So there's that. We should be getting into more spicy stuff here soon.
At number 7, I'm putting Park Beyond. This is a game that I showcased my excitement for when talking about my most anticipated games for 2022, and it didn't come out, and honestly, I almost had no confidence that this game would even exist or come out in 2023, but the game's Twitter has been very active, and I feel like this is a small enough game that it might be one of those that gets a release date for like a week after it's announced. Like, I could absolutely easily see them just tweeting out on like January 10th and be like, oh, this game's coming out next week. So I think that it's going to show up out of nowhere. It's not the type of game that everybody's going to be covering, and I'm not even sure how well it's going to do, but I do think it's going to be really fun, and it's going to be almost a nostalgic experience for me, because I haven't played a new theme park simulation type game in a long time. Expect a full playthrough of this from me whenever it does come out, and I'm really hoping that it lives up to the hype that I'm building up for it, even if it's just for me and nobody else feels this way.
Okay, listen. Park Beyond was a game that I built up so much hype for myself that I was ready to almost crown it like Game of the Year for this year before it came out. I wanted to just be like that person with like the most unique take ever. And Park Beyond it's so sad, because what I wanted it to be was a new age Throwville, which if you don't know what Throwville is, look it up. It's so much fun. It's very nostalgic. I don't know if it holds up as a good game, but I know I like it. And I feel like parts of this game lived up to the over-the-top, non-realistic aspect of it. However, the actual like story mode and like the missions just weren't very good. I had trouble sort of progressing my parks and hitting the things. I feel like I kept looking up guides to try and understand how the systems worked, and I felt like I was doing everything right, but still not making any progress. I tried to do a full playthrough. and it didn't go very well. After a couple uploads of me just not making any progress, I put the game down. I actually tried to bring it back I was gonna have it be like a Saturday series. I was like, all right, I'm gonna do deep dive. I'm gonna get spoiled and learn every little aspect of this game. And even when I did that, I still like couldn't do it. So I started to like record a video like 45 minutes into it, just nothing was happening, and I was like, I guess I just stop uploading this. So Park Beyond, I feel like it didn't live up to what I wanted it to be, and it made itself too difficult. I just wanted a cheesy, fun game, but instead, it was just, it did not do what I wanted it for me. Which is very sad, but that's what happened with Park Beyond. Not that many people were clamoring for it, but I had every intention to do a full playthrough. I gave it so many chances, and it let me down in every aspect. I would just much rather play other theme park simulation games instead. So, very sad. What's next?
For 6, I'm going to predict that Octopath Traveler 2 is going to be the game that takes this spot.
Okay.
While I haven't played the first game yet, I have only heard good things, as well as I played Triangle Strategy, which is made by the same people, so I trust in their ability to make a good game. This game is coming out on February 24th currently, but I am probably not going to get around to it till later in the year, because I still need to play through the first game, and I don't think it's a short game at all, and I'm sure the second one is also going to be long. This is a game that could absolutely be in contention for Game of the Year, or it could be a big flop, depending on how the gameplay, story, and characters go, because I don't actually know all that much about it. I'm really just going off of name recognition and knowing what I like and don't like, and expecting it to be a contender for one of the higher spots for my end of the year list for 2023.
Okay, so I definitely thought that the top 6 games were all going to be in contention for Game of the Year for me. Octopath Traveler 2, this was a prediction that I made without ever having played any of the Octopath Traveler games. Since then, I have played the first game, or at least about 40 hours of it, and then I was taking so long to play it that I just skipped to the second one because I wanted to try and beat it by the end of the year. I have played enough of Octopath Traveler 2 to have a fully formed opinion, and I can say that this game is very much for me. It is very much in contention for a potential Game of the Year for myself. And you should expect to hear me talk a little bit more about it in the future, but I will not give away how much you should expect me to talk about it. Just know that every game that I've played from this studio, the one that I said, they made Triangle Strategy, made Octopath Traveler 1 and 2, those are the only games that I played from them, all have been absolute bangers. So I think I undersold how much that I could like this, but this was just a safe pick because there was a chance that I played it and didn't like it at all. And so 6 was just a very safe pick for a franchise that I had never played. So that makes sense there, but that definitely exceeded expectations.
At number 5, I'm predicting Star Wars Jedi Survivor to take this spot. This game is currently scheduled to come out March 17th, and hopefully by then I actually have enough time to play through the first game. I actually played a little bit of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and I did really enjoy it. I just happened to get distracted by other games at the time, and I never really got around to making meaningful progress in that game. But now I have an excuse to play through it fully and then play this, which I think is probably going to be even better. I assume they've improved over the already good mechanics of the game, and I'm expecting this to be a lot of fun. We'll see if I even care about the story, but regardless, this is going to be a fun game to play, and I do think that is going to be contending for a spot around this part of my 2023 games list.
Okay, so I was right about some things. I did have enough time to play through Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. The problem is, at the end of the game, I kind of just felt like it was okay. I feel like I'm left with more negative impressions than I should be about the game for Fallen Order. That I just felt like even if Survivor was better, I was like, at most, it's going to be like a solid okay game. And at the time, I was working a lot. I was working a lot of overtime. I think there were some other games around that time that I was trying to make sure that I didn't miss out on. And I just didn't really feel a drive to even buy Jedi Survivor. So I don't know. It's not quite the game for me. I think there's just better action games out there. There's better games that are doing similar things. Maybe not like Star Wars, but I just wasn't driven to even try and play Survivor. After finishing Fallen Order, I was just like a little underwhelmed. So I think, I from everything I've heard, this is better than the sequel, or than the prequel. Predecessor, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. But I can't see how much better it could possibly have gotten to make it worth playing. And even if I played it, I'm not sure if it would have made it into my top 10 games. I just really don't. So that might just be a testament to the quality of games that have come out. But I don't know. I'm not seeing it. So this was definitely a reach for me. I definitely thought that I was going to really fall in love with this game, and I just didn't fall in love with this game series. So it is what it is. I think next one might be my spiciest take.
At number 4, I'm going to put Lies of P.
Oh, no, it's not. Okay.
As much as I'm not a fan of the name, this is going to be a Souls-like game with a world that is inspired by Pinocchio, which is one of my favorite Disney movies. The visuals of this game look incredible in terms of the atmosphere and the dark sort of take that they're going for. If the gameplay is smooth, this absolutely is a Game of the Year contender for me, but there is a chance that the gameplay isn't as satisfying as it looks like it could be. While there isn't a specific release date, the game's Twitter has been insanely active. They've been showing off so much about it over the last year that I would be very surprised if it doesn't come out in 2023.
Okay, okay. I think that's going to be my spiciest. So if you watched my Lies of P playthrough, you will know what my thoughts on the game are. I think it's incredible. The gameplay was smooth. When I was making this prediction, I was just burned too many times by, Souls-like games that looked like they could be promising just for them to be okay. I think of something like Tynesia from last year. I think of Mortal Shell, which I didn't really get super into. Even something like Wolong Fallen Dynasty this year. I build up these expectations in my head, and I'm like, well, but if it just doesn't feel right, it's just not going to be as good. Lies of P does feel right. It does feel as good, if not better, than some FromSoft games. So, yeah, this, solid prediction by me. It very much is Bloodborne Pinocchio with a lot of its own unique things as well. So, I don't really have much more to say about it this time. You will hear me talk more about it. I've already played the whole game, as well as done a boss ranking. So, I've done all my Lies of P content, and you should know my feelings on the game are very, very positive. Now let's get into. I can't believe I put it this high. Is it really time?
Number 3, I'm gonna put Forspoken.
Yeah.
January 24th. I know this game has been pushed back so much, but now that they have dropped a playable demo, which I have played, I am now very confident that it will finally come out in 2023. I'm not sure if I'm gonna care about the story elements or not, but having played the demo, I know firsthand that the gameplay is fun. Traversing the world is absolutely something that I'm looking forward to doing because it was a lot of fun to do in the demo. And I hope that the combat is satisfying throughout the entire experience. It is going to be a longer game, so the only downside is that there is a chance that the game's combat becomes repetitive and boring by the end. There's a chance that the game could sort of turn into a slog and overstay its welcome, but I'm really holding out hope that that is not the case. While I'm not going to be doing a full playthrough, you will definitely hear me talking about this in some way, shape, or form after I get a chance to play it.
Okay.
At number 2,
wait. My top 2 are like boring. They're safe picks. I still stand by most of what I said. The problem is I can't hard stand behind it. I did make content on Forspoken. It was a video that's just called Forspoken is Not That Bad, which I stand by every point that I made. The gameplay is fun. Traversing the world is fun. I really like how it looks. The main character is not that annoying. The only thing that I did not really go into at all in that video was the PC version and launch and how that was bad. But because that wasn't my experience, I didn't even think to touch on that. So that was, my mistake at that time. But Forspoken was unfortunately a game that came out while I was working a lot of hours at work. And then I set it to the side. I was trying to play through Jedi Fallen Order, so that way I could be done with that before Survivor came out. And by the time all that happened and all my work hours and everything was already pushed behind, it had already been like a month or two since I had played Forspoken, and then I moved on to another game, and I just never got back. I really wanted to get back to playing Forspoken this month, actually, and just to see if I could play it enough to get it into my top 10 games of the year list. But the unfortunate reality is I've only put a couple of hours into the game, and I would still love to maybe go back and finish it, because I do actually find the gameplay fun. I don't think it was as smooth as I remember the demo being. And there's some times where you go to attack enemies and it's not as smooth as I remember being, as other games have been like this year. But I still stand by that Forspoken is not that bad. But that's really all I have to say about it. I can't hard defend it as my 3rd favorite game of the year because I didn't even finish it, whereas I have finished other games. So, Yeah, it is what it is, but that's it. My top two are safe picks, so let's go ahead and just knock them out of the way here.
A little bit of a chance, and I'm going to put Marvel Spider-Man 2 here. There hasn't really been any more details about this game since it was announced, but with a current release window of fall 2023, I am expecting that to change soon, and I'm really hopeful that we start hearing more about it. The first Marvel Spider-Man is a fantastic game that I loved so much, and if they improve it in any way, shape, or form and tell a good story as well, this will absolutely be a contender for Game of the Year, and there's no reason for me to believe that this isn't going to be up there as one of my favorite games of 2023.
Okay, I was confused as to why I was like, I'm going to go out on a limb as if I expected this game to not be good. But no, I wasn't sure if this game was going to come out because we didn't really start hearing a lot about Spider-Man 2 until, January, February, March. It might have even been longer than that. I feel like we didn't even get a release date until just a few months ahead of time, but I might be wrong on that. Do you like the first Marvel Spider-Man? If so, play this one. It's better. It's like the same but better. Like I don't really know what to say. This is a super safe pick. Insomniac only makes bangers, and Spider-Man is such an easy game to play. If you like the first one, play this one. If you haven't played the first one, play the first one. Play this one. Just play it. It's a good game. That's really all I have to say. Very safe pick, and the top one, my number one here, is also going to be a super safe pick.
And at number one, what I'm predicting to be my personal game of the year for 2023 is Fire Emblem Engage. That's right, the first game in 2023 that I'm going to play might actually be the best one. I'm a huge Fire Emblem fan of both new and old. I think this game is going back to a little bit more of a classic style, so it's not going to be the same as like Three Houses, which is okay, but I trust the developers to make a fun experience gameplay-wise, and I'm hoping that the characters are also really good, and we'll see how it goes. I think this game is going to be a little overwhelming with a lot of its options in terms of the skills and emblem rings and things that you can do, and you can mix and match between different characters. It's going to be introducing a lot of mechanics that are probably going to take a bit to wrap my head around, but I'm really looking forward to it, and I do think this game is going to be fantastic. The only downside is there's a chance that this doesn't live up to other Fire Emblem titles, and I can see myself going back to playing other Fire Emblem games once I'm done with this, just because right now I want to play so much Fire Emblem because I just love it so much. And maybe I'm hyping this game up too much in my head, and there's a chance that this could absolutely be a disappointment, but I think that this is going to be my game of the year, barring something that I didn't expect to come out in 2023 coming out. But there we have it. That's
okay.
My list.
All right. Well, that's a video. Who cares about outro stuff? I'm here to do my current outro. I don't need to listen to the past one. Everything I said is basically on point. I was getting really excited for Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem came out. I put more hours into Fire Emblem Engage than any other game this entire year. So yeah, I did a whole playthrough of it. I did a ranking of the characters. I tried to play maddening mode on Twitch. It did not end well. I couldn't beat it because I just didn't build my team properly. So it's not that I don't think I can beat maddening, but I do think that I would have to start over from the beginning because I was trying to be too cute with it and use units that just are not very usable on maddening, especially if you're trying to use multiple ones of the not viable units. So I have, some minor gripes with the game, but just about everything that I said checks out. The game did a pretty good job of introducing all the new mechanics. There wasn't too much that was overwhelming. The characters were solid. Like I said, I have a character ranking, so you can go ahead and search for that if you are interested. But it is a game that I do like. It did get me interested in wanting to play other Fire Emblems because you see all these characters that are from past Fire Emblem games, and I want to learn more about their stories. I think I've kind of settled on the idea of maybe playing all the Fire Emblem games on the channel eventually, because I found that trying to play them on my own time just wasn't working out. So that is something that might happen eventually. Keep your eyes peeled for that. But safe to say, this game is definitely in contention for the game of the year for me. I really think that it just sort of met every expectation that I had for it, exceeded in some aspects, didn't meet expectations in other aspects, but that's really all there is to it. So, okay. I feel like there's a lot of safe picks outside of, Forspoken, which felt very safe to me at the time. But even still, I feel like I know myself pretty well. There's a couple things that I missed on, and this is interesting. I still like that everything that I predicted on here did actually come out, which is nice. Like I said, I don't plan on doing another video like this for next year. I do think that I'm just going to do a sort of general video talking about hey, what's coming out in 2024? What can you expect? All that sort of stuff, which I'll probably do that either next Saturday or the Saturday after, whichever one ends up not being my top 10 games of 2023. So those are the next 2 Saturday uploads in some order. I just haven't decided which one. And yeah, so let me know if you liked this video. I thought this was fun. I like looking back on previous stuff. I wouldn't mind looking back at some old content of mine if there's anything worth seeing. But I don't really know if that's something that anybody cares about. But I do like reminiscing over what past me thought and judging me, even though I was pretty spot on with a lot of my thought processes. Even if the order of this is not going to be exactly what my top 10 games are. It's, you know, I think it's good. And if you are interested in what my top 10 games are going to be, make sure you subscribe, and you will see that upload either next Saturday or the one after. So that is, I've said that out loud, and I better follow through with it. We'll see, but I will do my best. Either way, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If so, let me know. But I'll see you next time. Until then, peace out.